Hello and welcome. My name is Alex, and I am based in a place called Bideford in the West Country of England. Do let me know where you're calling in from today in the chat. Be good to know where you're from. And whilst we're waiting for other people to join, I just wanted to say how exciting travel is, isn't it? Because it's a bit like an international language, even of food. You know, I've been abroad in situations where people haven't necessarily been able to communicate with me, and often the other way around too. But it is knowing that you are a traveller, or it is in the partaking of eating that you can make those connections. So it definitely feels like a very international thing, doesn't it? So we'll give people a few more minutes to come in. We're almost on the hour. We shan't delay, as they say. Alrighty, we're almost ready to go. I hope everybody had a nice Christmas season and a happy New Year. I know in the UK there's rather a long lead-in time, and when it comes, it seems to end rather quickly. But it's good to reconnect with family and friends, some of which we don't see but once a year for some of them. Okay, so we're on the hour, so let's make a start, and I will share the screen. So again, a very warm welcome, and to make sure you're in the right place, here we're talking about travel consultants, about how you can get paying customers or go on adventures or live with purpose. And at the end, you're going to have a chance or an opportunity to have a chat to me to learn more about the Academy, more about adventure and purpose, and how working together might be. And if you stay right to the end, I have a special offer that's only available today. So let's make sure the screen is moving. So just a few aims for today. I'd like to provide you with as much information as I can, and to give you an introduction to the Academy. So if you do have questions, either leave them in the chat, but if you wish to ensure that you get your question answered, please do pop it into the Q&A. That way I can be sure to pick up your question. So in the years I've been traveling, I've been seeing reasons why people struggle, and I'm wondering whether any of these reasons resonate with you. Are you assuming that customers are simply going to find you? Well, is it dangerous to assume that? What about only using a few sets of tools? Are they the right tools? And should we blame the tools if they're not doing what they should be doing for us? Are we assuming that technology is going to do everything for us? It is said that AI is going to be the savior, but is it? What about trying to be the master of all? It's, I've seen many good examples of businesses and websites that go to a tremendous amount of trouble, and they do amazing jobs, some of them. But are we constantly out of reach? Because the travel business is constantly changing, isn't it? And who out there really understands the situation that we're in? When was the last time somebody talk to you about clarity, or someone listen to you? You know, these are interesting questions, and I'm wondering which of these resonate with you. So in good participation, it's good to have participation. I would like to get your view on just that. So let's get the ball rolling, as they say. And what has brought you here today? Please let me know. And the good thing about what we're chatting today, all 5 of the things that I've mentioned, I'm going to be covering, and I'm going to be putting them into 3 different sections. So that is hopefully going to cover it all. So please don't be shy. Let me know what you think. There are many reasons, are there not, that people struggle in the business, but these are the 5 that I've noticed the most. So let me know. Give people a few more moments to see if they have a view on this, and then we'll give you the result. Okay. So even though you didn't all make a choice, I am going to be covering all of these subjects. So not to worry, I will have it all covered for you. So just to give you a summary of the 3 sections we're going to be going through today, I'm going to be talking about some strategy, how you might optimize travel consultancy, and what the journey might be for you. But before we get there, just a brief mention about myself. Well, I'm the founder and visionary of the 7-Figure Traveller, and my mission is to ensure that your travel passion turns into an adventure. And the years I've spent learning and gaining insight, well, my goal is to give you practical knowledge and strategies, whether you're starting out or striving for travel consultancy success. And the thing is, we're living in a time of great awareness. Travelers today are not only looking for experiences, they're looking to connect with the countries and destinations that they're visiting. They are even some who wish to go much further than this and seek to form relationships and friendships with the people they meet along the way. And over the many decades I've been traveling, well, it's a privilege to explore our world. It's both extensive, but it's also a reminder of its diversity. It has challenges, but it also has hidden gems. But the most important thing I've discovered is you can still turn what you know into an adventure. And using a wealth of real world knowledge and business insight, you too can build a sustainable business based on adventure and purpose, but also hopefully getting paying customers. Now, at first glance, it may seem unrelated having a background in IT and sport, but it's given me a unique perspective around travel, plus an understanding of the importance of effective planning and using the right technology. You see, every detail matters, and I'm going to show you how you can use your existing skills or gain new ones. And honing what works and what doesn't, one thing I've realized is that the voice of the traveler is often unheard. And my commitment is to change and amplify your unique experience and everything else that comes with it, because together we can bring the best version of you, whether you're seeking personal fulfillment or looking to build a travel consultancy you wish to be proud of. So why is now a good time to be looking at this? Well, and I can't believe it's almost 5 5 years since there was a pandemic and lockdowns. But one of the consequences of those times was it built up this pent-up desire, a bit like an old-fashioned kettle. You put on a hot plate and it would just whistle out of control. And because this desire was so strong, well, then and now it's still, it's still a great time to be monetizing in the travel space, and not to be taking any action is a bit like missing out. Now, sure, you can wait, but when's it going to be like this again? It's a bit like the story of the tree. When was the best time to plant one? 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Well, it's now. But maybe you're not thinking about that. Maybe you just want to know how much money you can make from this. Well, it depends. Depends on how much effort you're willing to put in, how much time you're willing to invest, whether you're willing to invest in yourself, because in 6 to 9 months, you can make good money out of this. Now, sure, there's opportunities all around, but maybe you're wondering or thinking that the market is competitive. But if all you need to do is to differentiate, wouldn't that be a good reason? What about economic uncertainty? Well, if you could create a stable income which provided you with financial security, wouldn't that be a good reason? The thing is, travelers, in some respects, are being underserved, and it harks back down to business furloughing. Well, at least that's what they used to call it in the UK. And the effect of it was that businesses became invisible. It wasn't just in the travel space. And one of the consequences was that many businesses were overusing technology, a kind of disconnect, if you will. Now, this picture is a good example of a good balance between people and technology. People assume that aeroplanes contain a lot of tech, but it still requires pilots. There are still people serving customers on board. There are still people required to load and offload the aircraft, whether it be food and luggage. And there are even people driving empty aircraft around airfields. And this is why, because of this disconnect that's going on, this is why it's still a good opportunity to be connecting with actual people. So let's get your view on the importance of connecting with people. Imagine for a moment that, what's your experience like when you're looking to do business with someone else? What do you like out of a business? How important is it to be able to see them, to be able to communicate with them? No, it's there's a lot of technology in our lives, and I've seen plenty of examples of businesses who believe, for reasons known only to them, that technology, and pretty much only the use of technology, is the best way for people to connect with them. But the thing is, we're humans, aren't we? And we do we not crave for some sort of connection with the people we wish to do business with? Okay, don't be shy. Let me know what you think. Okay, a few more moments. So it is important, and I'm going to be covering a few more areas why it should be. So let's dive into the sections today and look at strategy. So there are a couple of areas within strategy that people are unclear of, and I've split them into 3 sections, which is how do you have a well-defined structure? How do you navigate complex roadmaps? And how do you build a strong support system which acts as a guide? Because without any of these things, you can have feelings of being cast adrift and feeling unsure how to build a business. It's effectively not standing out in the travel space. And this is something that gets covered inside the academy. So let's look at each of these in turn. So what do we mean by structure? Well, it's about having clear goals and objectives, the what and the why. It's about making choices about your target market. And missing any of these things out, well, you're missing out on your unique value and growth opportunities. And without them, you can have feelings of overwhelm, wondering where to begin and how to grow. Now, it's not the only kind of structure, because as a business progresses, you'll be looking to grow by having additional people. And this is something we also cover in the academy. Now, when I was working with a gentleman called John, he had no idea where to begin. He knew he loved travel, but he was unsure how to turn his passion into a direction. And it turned out the main thing that he was struggling with was asking the right questions. So when we worked together, we worked on framing these questions, which I call asking and listening. And essentially, it's about building relationships through conversation. And if you ever wondered about a quick way to begin conversations, I always think of the 3 W's and the H, the what, the when, the where, and the how. So let's have a look at a few examples. If you have travelers that want to go on a tennis group holiday, they love restaurants, but they're not keen on taxi rides, you might ask them what resorts they want to go to. But if you want to tease out the taxi ride issues, you also need to be asking about the important facilities they like or they would require at those resorts. If you have travelers who love small islands but are not great on small planes, you might ask them when they want to go. But if you want to ensure that they have a smooth ride, you also need to be asking about the travel aspects they prefer to avoid. Now, a lot of travelers have favorite brands, don't they? So you might ask them what chains they like. However, if you want to be able to enhance their experience, perhaps offer, special occasions, you also need to be asking about the optional extras that they'd like to have included. And when you're asking questions, it's a whole range of things. And when it's done well, it's sometimes referred to as predictive service. But I like to think that the real magic is asking the right questions. And I'm pleased to say that this is something that John is a lot more comfortable with asking now. So now that we've talked about relationships, let's next talk about the roadmaps. And why are they important? Well, it's important to think about the niche you wish to operate in, your target markets, planning, marketing, finance and compliance. It's a system to avoid potholes. No one likes driving over them, so why should we accept them anywhere else? And why is it important? Well, it's about not missing any of the steps out. And not having all of the steps, well, it's a bit like having a jigsaw puzzle with some of the pieces missing. You risk not seeing the whole picture, or the whole thing might fall apart. So essentially, it's about knowing about all the right elements and going deeper when you need to. Now, something I get told quite a bit is that there's rather a lot of information and noise on the internet. And of course, it can affect people's confidence. And one area one aspect you can work on is to focus on the area that you love and follow lots of steps in order to reach your purpose. Another area which can sometimes get overlooked is the role that consultants play to put on the trips. Now, a few years ago, I was privileged to visit a desert in Western Australia. And certainly my fellow passengers were not necessarily aware of what it happened, what it took to put it on. Now, it's not about, scaring the punters. It's about being mindful of what it takes to put on journeys. I just remember having stepped out the coach and admired both the beauty and isolation of the desert we were in. I was looking at the deep reds and the dusty road disappearing into a haze. And when I looked back at the coach, there was a pipe going up the outside, there was an aerial, there was a satellite dish, and there was enough food and water in the back of the coach to sustain 50 people for days on end. So being mindful is important, but it's not the only kind of mindfulness. You matter as well. You need to be taken care of, and you deserve a roadmap as much as the next person. And when I was helping a lady called Joyce, she had been running a single physical travel shop and was opening a second one, but she couldn't understand why it was difficult to keep her staff. And it turned out that she was fixated on running the second job exactly how she ran the first one. So when we worked together, we worked on what I call trust and process, which is essentially about letting go a little, allowing your staff or freelancers to get a perspective on the business, because they need new experiences as much as you do. And this is an important element which can't be ignored. And remember when we were a smaller version of ourselves, it was all about new experiences. Now, I would personally have loved to have had a toy like this. And always you would get encouraged all the time. So it shouldn't stop when you grow up, when you go to school, to uni, get a job, start your own business, become an entrepreneur. I would suggest that new experiences are even more important. I'm pleased to say that Joyce hardly ever has to visit her second shop now, and it's amazing what a difference it makes. Just a slight change of emphasis. So now that we've looked at the importance of structure and a well-defined roadmap, the next vital pillar is support, which can be both exciting and challenging, provided, of course, it's the right kind of support. And support is more than just about getting people unstuck. It's about plugging into a network of individuals that can help you navigate uncharted waters, provide you with mentorship and guidance. Because without it, you could be left with gaps in your knowledge, challenges, and missed opportunities. And it's worth remembering that throughout any support journey, it's not meant to be solitary. Support should be there to provide you with assistance in ways that can help you grow, navigate, and find opportunities. So next, we're going to go deeper and more specific about how you could transform your business ambitions. And when I was working with a gentleman called Jason, he was finding that his travelers were telling him that they didn't feel like they were being listened to. And it harked back to the times of lockdowns when businesses have been forced to adjust by retreating online. So when I worked with Jason, we worked on what I call the power of listening, which is essentially asking a question and then shutting up. Because the thing about travelers is that they're generally smart individuals and they are willing to do a lot of things themselves, but they're also a great source of information. The best ones, of course, are generally, the best kind of travelers are generally time-poor individuals. They are not, of course, the only kind of travelers. You've got those who are prepared to do the straightforward things, but would prefer not to get involved in more complex trip arranging. And of course, you've got those that are not so confident in any area of travel. But the one thing generally that all people have in common, or at least the benefit that you can hand back to travelers, is to give them time back. And that is, a vital element, as well as, of course, gathering good intelligence about your travelers. But it's giving them their time back is an important element here. So let's find out what you think about this. Let me know now. This is a multi-choice question. So let me know now. What's more important? Is it questions? Is it needs? What experience have you had? Yes, I mean, dealing and communicating with customers is an interesting experience, isn't it? Everybody needs something different, and we're all in a different state of mind. It's a beautiful thing to observe, isn't it? And yeah, so let's see. Let's give a few more seconds. Don't be shy. Let me know what you think. Okay, a few more seconds and we'll give you the answers. So definitely agree. Listening to what people want is definitely right up there. So let's summarize this section by just highlighting a few things. So more than ever, people are looking to feel a connection with the people they're buying from. And I refer to people as people because I know sometimes people say customers, prospects, leads and all that. Well, people are not things, they are people, and we need to treat people as people. And the advantage of connections is that not only are they unique, but we are unique too, and that is a hidden advantage. But of course, it's only an advantage if you are visible, and visibility is incredibly important because when it's done correctly, this is something that people really love, and it's a very powerful thing to plug into. And one thing that was interesting about last year, and I can't believe 2024 was last year, is that 5 billion people stepped on an aeroplane at least once last year. To put that into perspective, that is 5 out of every 8 people. And that is a human record. More humans than ever are flying. So in order to be the ones that are helping them, visibility is something we cannot overlook. Now, at the end of this session, I'm going to be offering a chance to have a chat to me. And it's about being open to change. It's about talking through a process and getting answers to any questions that you'd like to be answered. It's being willing to stop everything else and committing to one thing and then trusting that process. It's about having adventures and living with purpose, but hopefully also getting paying customers. And talking about paying customers, the question is, are you getting enough paying customers, or are you getting them as frequently as you would like? Now, if you'd like to find out the answers to either of those questions, today I have 10 slots available, and if you want to come along and have a chat, then either go to the website at the bottom of the screen, bit.ly/traveller-discovery, or hover your phone over the QR code. Don't be concerned if you don't have your smartphone available, because this code will appear on future slides. And don't forget to stay to the end, because I have a special offer only available if you stay right to the end. Alrighty, so let's jump into the next part, which is all about optimizing. So what do we mean by this? Well, it's about achieving your optimal potential, or to put it another way, it's to strategically adjust. And one area which I found is ineffective is personal visibility. And this is why I popped it into two sections here called adjusting and refining. So the consequences of not adjusting is not being able to engage with your customers, to establish trust and authority. It's missing a chance to create your brand. And if you're sitting there thinking it's a crowded market, well, maybe you need to be more specific. Instead, why not think of specificity and visibility, like holding a bunch of keys? Because if you have them and use them, it's a bit like having a passport to another world. Now, I used to think that window shopping was a made-up thing. So I determined to go to my local high street, and I found a business that had products and services I was reasonably interested in. And in I went, and I joined a queue, and I turned around, and pretty soon people were looking through the window. Now there's a psychology to this, because if people are willing to put their noses up against a window, they've already made a soft kind of decision. Now what they want to know is if they like the people inside that are selling said products and services. So, in the physical world, this is incredibly important. And visibility, you see, can be said to be many things. But the thing that it does the most is it gets people to make decisions. Now, no one likes to be surrounded by people who can't make decisions. And in the physical world, that's why we have to be okay with people walking by. But in the online world, visibility is even more important. So decision making. But this is not the only kind of decision making. There is content. And let's talk firstly about what it isn't. You don't want to be vague or confusing, and let's bust the myths here. You don't want to be the same as anybody else. You don't want to be matching everybody else. And like visibility, content is made up of several things. But you will not be surprised to know that making decisions is one of those elements, and content and visibility, therefore, are very closely related. Getting your prospective travelers to make decisions is incredibly important. And when I was working with a lady called Chloe, she had planned a trip for her travelers to the lovely West Country city of Bristol. It's a city of hills and the famous bridge by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. But the problems for her travelers didn't begin until their return journey, which turned out into a highly chaotic journey. Firstly, people invaded the railway tracks. And when that was eventually cleared and the train made it to the next city of Exeter, the train broke down. And all attempts by local staff to find alternative train sets all ended up with the same thing happening. All the trains just kept breaking down. So what was special about this day? Well, it's what in the UK sometimes gets described as an excessive heat day. And when I worked with Chloe, we worked on a call, how do you adjust and prepare for situations like this? Or in other words, how do you react to change? Well, there's two aspects to this. She could have just advised her travelers just to hang around a bit, and maybe things would have worked out. But the other side of it is well, it's about setting proper expectations, and that can really only be done in advance. And that, in this particular example, is having knowledge of train operating companies. If they have a track record of not running many services during excessive heat days, it's about having another plan up your sleeve. Now, whether you share that information with your travelers, of course, is dependent on your relationship with them. But when they call you, of course, what they want to hear is a calm voice at the other end of the phone. Someone who has already thought of the possibilities. Clients love to, and travelers love to hear calm voices, don't they? So that's adjusting. How about refining? So refining is about the different aspects of an approach that you can take. Now, also in the Southwest, there is a regional airport, and it has a reasonable number of passengers, around 10 million per year. It has 12 airlines serving the airport, one of whom is the most dominant. And when I arrived at its single bright and airy terminal, there was already tension in the air. I could hear trolleys knocking into other trolleys. Voices were being raised. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, by the time these folk reach the front of the queue, they're going to need a second trip to get over the first trip they haven't been on yet. So how might they have mitigated this? Well, they could have shown up a little bit earlier when perhaps the queues were shorter. Perhaps this airline has an online check-in system, so all they had to do was to show up at a much shorter bag drop. Or perhaps this airline was a low-cost airline. Yeah, and if you have any knowledge of those, you'll realize that you're lucky to get a seat, let alone any other kind of service. So if you have impatient or nervous passengers, then it's worth considering whether you should be sending them to another airport, even if it means an addition of time to their journey of 1 or 2 hours. Because if you are going somewhere on business, you want to arrive in a state of readiness. If you're going on a holiday or vacation, you want to arrive ready to get going on your trip. So it's about learning more about, it comes back again, learning more about your travelers. Now, it shouldn't mean, should it, that the conversation ends when the cash register goes ching, nor should it be about having conversations purely to hope that they're going to drop those little gems. No, it's about having normal conversations. And the thing about conversations, it may happen in the first one or 2 or 3 down the road. An invisible line can be crossed, because when you have normal conversations and people enjoy having those conversations with you, they can become more familiar with you. Maybe they won't come, you'll become your best friends immediately, but they can become extremely comfortable. And during that process, you learn a great deal more about them. And in this world that we live, change, of course, is happening more often than it isn't. And sometimes it's regarded as inevitable. But of course, the way people react to it is purely optional. And this is where, carrying on that conversation can really benefit you in terms of how you refine the journeys you arrange for people. So I hope that makes sense. So another question for you. How important do you think it is to you that about visibility? What do you think about expectations? How much do you value what your travelers are thinking? It all goes back, doesn't it, to the travelers come to you in various states of minds and needs, but having a decent conversation can help enormously, can't it? It's a two-way process in which the customer is hopefully on the same adventure as you, because I say the adventure begins before the journeys actually begin, and the longer the conversation, the more you learn about what their needs really are. Okay, give you a few more seconds. Alrighty. So you're right, it's everything, isn't it? Everything's important. And when it comes to your travelers, of course, we want them primarily to be the ideal people, yeah? And there are many ways to define your ideal travelers, and many strategies which you can employ to find them, all of which I discuss in the Academy. But assuming that you have your ideal audience in front of you, showing off is another way of saying showing how good you are in one particular area. And it's all about giving your potential travelers, enough confidence that you know everything there is to know about one particular area. And once established, of course, that will give them confidence that you can assist them in other areas. And that confidence also has a habit of building up, which will enable you to personalize and differentiate in ways that you can build up and deliver their adventures. Now, one area I always encourage to do is to get people to share their pictures and their videos, because with their permission, obviously, it can be extremely helpful to show people that come after them how good it is to go on certain kind of journeys. But of course, it also has another purpose, and that is to tell the truth, to tell what really is happening at the destinations. We've all had that situation where we've looked at brochures. The sun always shines, the beaches are always empty, the swimming pool is always full, and my favorite drink is always available at the bar. So learning what's actually happening is incredibly useful. Now, it's not about catching out your suppliers, and that, of course, is another set of relationships that you're maintaining. It's because you're representing your travelers, giving your suppliers a chance to correct things as, I'll say, 99% of the game. And it shouldn't, only in the worst case scenarios should major intervention be required. But pictures and videos are incredibly useful right across the board. But that's not the only kind of knowledge here. There's also knowledge or experience. There's the technical experience. Now, we're all familiar with companies like Amazon and Apple, and they are known, aren't they, because they offer quick and responsive service. Their technology works on mobile devices, and how long you keep people on technology is another element which determines whether they're going to take certain journeys, and more importantly, with you. Now, if, for example, one of those journeys was about visiting a Champagne region, you'd presumably share lots of pictures and videos about other people who enjoy taking the same sort of journey, so that by the time it's their turn to go, they've already counted all the bubbles. Not that I'm suggesting I like champagne, but it is happy moments, right? So let's summarize this section about some of the things we've been talking about. Now, visibility is incredibly important, but what really helps is focusing on what matters. You want to be where your travelers are, because when you are satisfying those things, you can start doing things like personalizing and differentiating. But obviously, having a great experience and a great technical experience is highly influential. So how might your journey look like? Well, there's always been travelers, right? And even since the smaller version of myself went to this airport many years ago, the building I was standing on sadly is no longer there. It was called the Queen's Building, and I'm looking down towards a tuck shop, very important. But the most exciting element was the sound of coming out the speakers of the conversations between pilots and the air traffic controllers. And where I stood, there was almost a 360-degree view of the airfield. There was absolutely no doubt that anyone visiting a place like this would get really excited about travel. And the thing about travel is that once you start it, it gets inside of you. It forces you to make decisions about where you've gone and where you want to go to next. This is a good example of how departure gates used to look like. You literally could just walk straight off the street right up to the edge of the tarmac, and when it was time to depart, an official would walk down the steps, check your tickets, and you'd be allowed to walk across to board your aircraft. This particular aircraft, the stairs were built into the rear, and if there was a bit of a queue when it was your turn to board, you could experience what some people described as ground turbulence. They could really bounce around some of these stairs. And the sharp-eyed amongst you may have noticed a bicycle. Well, that contains fire retardant equipment. It always makes me smile looking at this picture, because I often wonder what the advert for this job would have been. Only fit people need apply. Anyway, hopefully the fire department is much improved at Dubrovnik Airport. And like journeys, we are as unique as them. When I used to go on boat trips with my grandfather, one of the things I used to do was to stand up and suggest that one of the things he should do was to scrub the decks. Now, sadly, I never got to know him as an adult, but I'd have loved to have known where his journeys were taking him. He used to be in the Navy and was a submariner in the first half of the 20th century, when people hardly ever traveled. And the thing about journeys, we not only replay the journeys we've been on, we play the ones that we're planning to go on. And this is why storytelling plays such an important part today. The journeys we've taken and journeys we hope and plan to go on. And as we've been discussing, we're far more in control of journeys than we think. They are more than just beginnings and endings. The way we think about journeys and the way we organize journeys and the destinations makes a massive difference. Now, the point of today is not to make you like me, it's to tell you the truth, and I hope that's okay, because in my view, a lot of people are wasting their time. And it's not great if you're doing lots of stuff and it's not getting the results that you're looking for. And one of the areas that gets highlighted to me is not having a proper roadmap. Now, I get to meet two kinds of people generally in the academy: experienced people who are looking for a compass and a sense of direction, and there are inexperienced people. But of course, the reality is we're all a mixture of all of that, aren't we? But the one thing we always discuss is what your purpose is. Because if you don't know where you're going, how do we know where you want to go? And what we do to answer what that purpose may be, is to fill the gaps. And it's not assuming that people will simply find us. It's using the tools that are appropriate. It's not assuming that technology is going to find you. It's about getting the support you need, and it's not about having to be the master of all. And one thing I get to hear about is some people don't have a system for identifying what's working, because it's essentially about measuring. If you don't measure things, how do you know if you're succeeding or not? Therefore, measuring is incredibly important. And how do we achieve that? Well, we have checklists and plans. It's about building or enhancing your existing travel community. And when it comes to these communities, even if you are aware of other people or organizations that appear to be offering similar services to yourself, the thing that sets you apart from them is your unique perspectives, because people buy into perspectives. They really do, before products and services. And down the road, hopefully, you will want to expand. Now, the traditional method is to either hire staff or have freelancers. But the thing is, we all need to eat and we all need to sleep. And your travelers may be on the other side of the world. So maybe the option of travel specialists may be an advantage to you. So what might your journey look like? Well, it's been shown how your business looks like from 10,000 feet up. It's about doing something on the day you join. It's about learning and applying knowledge as you go. It really is about turning strangers into best friends. And if you're willing to follow lots of steps and strategies, in 6 to 9 months, you can make good money out of this. But what we need to do is we need to build a process which enhances your confidence in the area that you're working in. It's using all the appropriate tools in that area. It's about building up relationships, because the way you express yourself and deliver is unique to you. We need to enhance that. And to specialize in the area that you most know the most about, because when you combine all these things together, it will enable you to craft journeys, prepare, adapt to any situation, become a very responsive individual, but above all, to deliver the value that your travelers are looking for. So you don't need to be the master of everything. You just need a process plus a plan, because I know how passionate you are and you deserve to get better results, which is why I'm offering this opportunity today, which is only available online. So if you'd like me to personally help you generate consistent travelers, then you're in the right place. And what I've done is to build you a roadmap where you too can improve your visibility, get results by really listening to customers, focusing on the area that means the most to you, bring out your uniqueness, and get in front of your ideal clients. But what you need is a roadmap, the ability to follow checklists and strategies, to give and to receive feedback, to build or enhance your traveler community, and having the option of travel specialists down the road. So what are we offering in the Academy? Well, it's 12 months access. It's all the feedback you need. It's all the resources you need. It's accountability, because we all need a little bit of a push from time to time. It's weekly calls of myself. It's building or enhancing a traveler community. And it's the option of support specialists down the road. It's all for a monthly subscription, and it's only available online. Now, if you want to have a conversation to see if it's for you, you're most welcome to book a call and come along for a chat. All you have to do is to go to that URL, bit.ly, that's bit.ly/traveller-discovery, or hover your phone over the QR code. So just a reminder of what's in the package. It's 12 months access. It's all the feedback you need. It's all the resources you need. It's accountability. It's weekly calls. It's building your community and the option of support specialists. Now, because I realized the importance of establishing your true purpose, for the first 5 that actually join the Academy, I'm running additional one-to-one clarity calls. It is so important to establish your purpose. It's really foundational. So there is an option for you which you can take up. Now, as we approach the end of our time together, I just wanted to briefly just skip over what we've been talking about today. Now, any endeavor can be said to be jumping on board. And of course, that experience may include setting goals and outcomes. But this is something that, a lot of people see on the outside of a business. There are things that get, that either get or can become unseen. And that is, the structure of a business, having a proper roadmap, having a support system. But even all of these things together, they need one more thing. They need a purpose. Because whilst outcomes and goals may come and go, purpose is for all time. Alrighty, so let's see if there are any questions. Alrighty, well, Zara was asking about, or rather she was saying that she doesn't think that the Academy is the cheapest on the market. Well, it isn't, but it's about investing in yourself. And really the question is, how much is it costing you not doing something? Marco was saying that he has issues juggling his priorities. Well, I do agree with that. It is, it can be incredibly tricky, but it's all about focusing on, on one particular outcome, the purpose that you wish to achieve. And, and how much time do you spend on other things not getting what you want? So, and are you, can you set an hour aside a day to do something that does serve you? Sarah is wondering about, how do you break through all the noise? Well, it's all about your uniqueness. You are a highly unique person, and that's really what it's about. And it's really just about turning strangers into best friends, getting used to, having conversations, because conversations are very revealing and very useful. But I did say that there would be one more thing, and that is, if you are still wondering whether it's worth having a conversation, well, I am giving you module 1 for free. If you wished to take advantage of that, all you need to do is to email me at alex@sevenfiguretraveller.com and say free or module 1, or I would like to try module 1. And module 1 contains a lot of foundational questions, some of which we cover today. So if you'd like to take advantage of my special offer, then you'll be most welcome to do so. So I do appreciate the time that you put aside today, and if I see you on a call or I receive an email from you, that will be amazing. And just to say, gosh, it's 2025. My goodness me, doesn't time travel? Well, I do appreciate your time, and I do hope that you have an amazing day and an amazing year. Thank you very much, and see you soon.